Hey, it's Russ, and that is Lauren. This is our Sunday vinyl video here on the Infectious Groove Music channel on YouTube. And we do have a lot more Record Store Day releases coming up on the channel. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe. We always, every Sunday, we're going to have videos regarding something to do with vinyl or audio equipment in some way, shape, or form. But for the next foreseeable future, we're going to have some Record Store Day releases. Now, this one in particular is funny because this came out because Fridays is the day that music gets released now, and Record Store Day is always on Saturday. This particular release came out the day before Record Store Day, so it's like, well, why not just save it a day and call it a Record Store Day release? Because it's also a special edition of the record, you know? So
make it special.
Kind of odd. But today we're talking about the latest pressing of The Dark Side of the Moon, an album which, as you might imagine, with 740 some weeks on the Billboard chart and 14 years and some sort of stuff, and been around since 1973. Like, you're going to see some different pressings of this record. Back when I had my original vinyl collection, without even trying, I had like 6 different pressings of this record. Like, I just kept coming across unique ones, and I was like, well, I guess I'll have that one too, you know? So since we are rebuilding our collection, I didn't have a pressing of The Dark Side of the Moon, and I thought, well, whatever, we'll just get that one.
Sure.
The official way it's listed just rolls right off the tongue. Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, 50th anniversary, mix and master with UV pressing on 2 LPs.
You didn't even have that written down anywhere.
No, well,
that all came out of your brain.
It did. I feel like Dave said that to Roger at some point during the
I was literally looking for notes somewhere that you had it written down to remember that whole thing.
Did not. I mean, don't ask me to do it again.
No.
But the big thing with this is the mix and master that they released for the 50th anniversary of The Dark Side of the Moon. It's funny. I remember going to Sound Warehouse to buy the 20th anniversary CD of Dark Side of the Moon, and it came in like, not a digipack, throwback to a recent video we did, but it came in this like digipack like box, and in any case, I remember picking up the 20th anniversary.
Oh, I know those boxes.
And being like, God, The Dark Side of the Moon's old, and like now we're doing the 50th anniversary. You know, it's just a weird little memory. But what's unique about this one is that for the first time that I'm aware of, The Dark Side of the Moon is over 2 LPs, but it's not because it's at 45 RPM. It's because of the way in short, they wanted to do a picture disc where the sound doesn't suck. So how they accomplished that was it's on 2 single-sided LPs, and the UV printing is on one side of each LP, and the vinyl pressing is on the other side of the LP. I'm trying to figure out a way to say this without being totally insulting to the whole idea. I don't care. Like, I don't. And you're probably like, well, why do you own that one? We didn't have a pressing of The Dark Side of the Moon, and this got announced right as I was gonna buy a copy, and I was like, well, if I'm gonna buy, then I'll just buy that.
Yep.
You know, and I lumped it in with my Record Store Day order that I got from rockcitymusic.com, our friends up in Detroit. So I was just like, well, just give me that copy of The Dark Side of the Moon, right? I care massively that it doesn't sound like crap, because I like that they went out of their way to make sure that it the printing thing, like I've gone off on the channel before. I've talked to you about this in person. I can't stand picture discs. I've even given you examples of A/B comparison of a picture disc versus a black vinyl LP. And so with this, the first thing, as soon as I laid eyes on it, I was like, no. But then when you find out how it was done, where they printed on one side, and I'm covering all this early because it kind of covers the first 2 things. So this is like packaging. To me, this falls under packaging. The fact that it's on 2 LPs and the printing on the LPs, and then it's also going to affect sound. So as far as the overall packaging from the outside goes, I think this is the first time ever the Dark Side of the Moon's like in a slipcase. Like, when people saw this, you're never going to believe this, but the internet wildly overreacted when they saw the slipcase, and they were like, they changed the cover. Nope, they just put a slipcase on it. As soon as you pull a slipcase off, it's the same Dark Side of the Moon cover on the inside. Special shout out to the people on Twitter who lost their mind and were like, Pink Floyd went woke, they're using a rainbow. Holy cow. But it is, as far as I'm aware, the first time it's been on 2 LPs. One other little packaging note that I thought was kind of cool, and this is probably something that heads exploded over. The original pressing of Dark Side of the Moon, and nearly every repress I've ever seen, comes with 2 different posters and a couple of different postcards. And so when this one, I almost didn't pull the poster out because I was like, well, I've seen that poster a million times. This does not come with any postcards, and it doesn't come with two posters. It comes with one poster that's specific to this anniversary pressing, which I like. I like because I've had the other ones, since before the dawn of time, and the other ones, the original posters. There's really not much to them because Pink Floyd wasn't Pink Floyd that had sold all copies of the Dark Side of the Moon yet. They were Pink Floyd that had just released the Dark Side of the Moon, so it wasn't like there was anything special going to happen with the posters in there, So as far as the packaging goes, I think it looks cool. Lauren reminded me recently in a video, I say all the time, you don't play the cover, So for me, the sound more matters than anything. And if nothing else, I'm super pleased with the 50th mix and master. I think it sounds fantastic. We've played it anywhere from a reasonable to a wildly unreasonable volume since we've had it. I think it's in my opinion, it's as good as the Dark Side of the Moon's gonna sound, unless like Mobile Fidelity or Analog Productions comes along and does they're never gonna do a 45 RPM pressing because of how the songs run into each other. But they may be able to do something with like a one step or something that sounds better. But this sounds absolutely fantastic to me. This kind of, I guess, goes back to packaging, but also with sound. I could see people looking at the 2 LP thing as a drawback, because if you listen to the Dark Side of the Moon, you get to the end of the Great Gig in the Sky, you get up, you flip the record, put the needle down, and with this, you got to put one LP away, get another. Like, I get that. I'm not saying anybody has complained about that. I'm sure someone has on the internet, but I don't care all that much about it. You know what I mean?
It's relatively minimal drudgery.
Yeah, like if you're getting up anyways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I understand, and we've talked about this on the channel before, I understand the argument people have of, for 45 RPM, I don't want to get up every 2 seconds. I totally understand that argument. But with this, I don't know. It doesn't matter to me all that much. Like, this is the version we bought because it was the one that was available then. If I had this mix and master on a single slab black vinyl, that'd be fine. I have it over the 2, and the printing doesn't mess with the sound. Hooray. Now, we get into price and value for something like this. And I purposely didn't put on the notes that we usually have on the screen and whatnot, the price on this, because I wanted to have you guess what this pressing costs of the Dark Side of the Moon.
$40.
$60.
Darn.
Which is a bit much, I think.
Okay.
And again, this isn't any slant on our friends at the Rock City Music Company. I was just like, just throw that version on the pile. When I got my receipt, and again, I don't think it's up to the retailer to be like, are you sure? That's gonna, I told them this is what I want. One of my models in life is don't make it hard for me to give you money, So I was like, that's the version I want. And they were like, yeah. When I got the receipt, I was like, really? Like, huh? Well,
I'll be.
Yeah, huh? And I'm guessing that the argument there is from our friends at Pink Floyd or Sony Records or whomever.
From our friends at Pink Floyd.
I'm guessing the argument there is, this is the limited version and whatever. But there's like a bazillion copies of the Dark Side of the Moon. Plus, me personally, I'm well known in the vinyl community for not caring about collectability of things. Like, I'm going to play those things constantly. Records were meant to be played. I'm not buying this to have it set on the shelf and hope that someday I can flip it for $200, $300, $400 or whatever. So for me, there is zero value in this. Like, I would never say to someone, oh, you know what you need to find? You need to find that 2 LP UV pressed version of it. You know what I mean? Like, especially for this price. Like, now, if they have done what they did with like Adele and Taylor Swift and pressed entirely too many of things, and then they end up on clearance, and you get this someday for like $30, sure, pick it up. But it's also one of those things too where I'm part of the problem in having bought this already. But like, I don't want to encourage record labels to go back and do this either. Like, let's just do things like this is wildly random, but like Yellow Brick Road, go back and put that over 4 LPs or something and print.
It's too many.
And but with the specific thing of like, we're going to sell you this like printed version of it, with all the artwork.
We're going to put the Yellow Brick Road on the back of it.
I have no interest in encouraging record labels to do that. So for me, the price and the value are where this rolls into stinker territory. Like I think it's just, as a huge Pink Floyd fan, unless you're buying this to collect, which is not me, I would just pick up any other pressing of the Dark Side of the Moon. Maybe I think it's 2010 or 2011. There's a whole string of Pink Floyd records that are terrible. So like not that one, but the 2016 pressing of Dark Side of the Moon sounds beautiful. So we don't like to, be like, it is a terrible thing. We like to at least give you the reasons why, which is kind of why we talked so much at the beginning about like the hows and whys of this version. But if maybe there's something I'm missing, maybe if you've heard other, like the 2016 pressing of Dark Side of the Moon, you think, oh man, no, like this is weird. Cause it's been a minute since I've heard that pressing. So maybe this is wildly superior and I don't remember. But let us know, drop a comment and let us know if you're in Pink Floyd groups on social media or vinyl groups. If you would please drop this video in there because that helps the channel grow some, and share on your personal social media too. Show your friends, your friends on the internet talking about records. And as we always say, thank you so much for watching.